Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So we have a little bit of a drama that's been going on the internet recently. Those of you who don't know exactly what's going on, so Donald Trump decided to pretty much attack Candace Owen. And if you have been keeping up with the way Trump has been acting lately in the Candace Owen saga when it comes to Brigitte Macron, also because Candace Owen is extremely critical of the way he's running things in the White House currently. But he decided to attack her. And so a lot of people obviously went ahead and said, holy crap, Donald J. Trump made Candace Owen look like a crackhead on Time magazine. Well, obviously it's not an actual Time magazine, but you get the whole idea. With that being said, Laura Loomer is also somebody who does not like Candace Owen, and they've had a huge beef in the public. If you haven't seen it, I recommend go and see Candace Owen podcast about Laura Loomer, and you will see how much of a nut job she is. In fact, she recently just lost a lawsuit against Bill Maher because he made a joke about her sleeping with Donald Trump. And, she lost our lawsuit. What does that mean? I don't know what it means, because that sounds to me like a defamation. The fact that he insinuated the fact that she was sleeping with Donald J. Trump and she decided to take him to court and she lost it. Lot of eyebrow raised right there, man. Who knows? With that being said, breaking news. This is from Laura Loomer. President Trump just slammed Candace Owen and called her an extremely low IQ individual. She's the one. If I remember correctly, Laura Loomer called Candace Owen a ratchet BIT, low IQ individual. He says her attack on the First Lady of France is despicable. First of all, that is a man. This thing is all right. Anyways, so yeah, first of all, let's be quite honest. Brigitte Macron is a man. All right, I listened to Candace Owen podcast when it came to the whole Brigitte Macron saga, and I'm gonna tell you right now, a woman does not act like the way that man does. And the reason why I say that is because it doesn't take much to prove that you are a woman. It doesn't take it really don't. But for Brigitte Macron, whew, man, it's like going over Mount Everest just to come and prove to everybody that, she was born a woman. Continuing, I'm sure President Trump is very happy that this lawyer dropped Candace Owen as a client this week. After I expose it, of course, Val Person of the Year. He's right. She's an animal, a demon. Oh, this is coming from Laura Loomer. Last time I checked, Candace Owen didn't advocate to go bomb people in the Middle East. Last time I checked, well, from the perspective of Donald J. Trump, Candace didn't order thousands and millions of dollars to be sent to a country that is actively committing a genocide. Last time I checked, Candace Owen did not order the, kidnapping of a president in Venezuela. Trump has done a lot of shit in which I'm like, you compared to Candace Owen, let's be quite honest. You may not agree with everything she says. Don't get me wrong. But she has a little bit of clean slate compared to you, Donald Trump. Let's be honest. And then Laura Loomer, again, if you go listen to Candace Owen podcast about her, you'll be like, holy shit. Allegedly, she is known to, SA men. Allegedly. All right. Is there a proof of that? Just go watch the podcast. Trust me. It sounds very, very convincing. And based off of people like what's his name?
Who's the most insane person, and I was, there was
good friends with Laura too.
Well, no, I was not good friends with Laura. I was loose allies with Laura until I met her, okay. And then when I met her properly and spent time with her, I realized she was absolutely fucking mental. I distanced myself very quickly. I distanced myself because she used to force herself on young male volunteers, 20, 21-year-olds. And she would go in the middle of the night, and I mean, some men will find this to be quite titulating. Although,
this sounds kind of good.
When you imagine sort of the face of the of the Saw doll, just sort of like you pull up the covers and there's the Saw doll. I would like to play a game. It's less enticing, but she would climb into bed with these volunteers and suck them off in the middle of the night. Sorry to use that language, but I did tell you to put your children to bed.
No way. She wouldn't go and sexually assault random guys and just blow them.
I'm telling you because I lived in the
that.
pool house with her victim in 2020, who didn't know how to make it stop. He was a young Brazilian volunteer on her 2020 congressional campaign. I know because I helped to run that campaign. Okay, so don't tell me you don't believe it. I was there. She was creeping into bed with him, and she convinced herself that they were in love. And he was coming to me every day saying, "How do I make this stop?"
You say, "Bitch, get off me." I mean, that didn't seem that hard. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you would think that, but this is a young guy who's, I never really understood when people talked about power dynamics in rape before. I was like, okay, fine, either you want the sex or you don't, or whatever.
Multiple people have pretty much came out that Laura Loomer is somebody who is known to SA men in her circle. And then, of course, with Bill Maher's joke about her sleeping with Donald Trump. Again, this is alleged. Am I saying this is true? I don't know what's going on over there. He just made that joke. But based off of that, too, the theme seems to be she is somebody who is taking advantage of powerful people, simultaneously taking advantage of people below her. She's like, how do I say it? Another rumor is that she was obsessed with pretty much control. You know what I mean? And she liked to degrade people, so on and so forth. Marjorie Taylor Greene here also responded to this whole situation. So she writes, President Trump hates women he can't control, who don't worship him, women who actually worship God and is much more intelligent than he is. Women like Candace Owen. This cruel post about Candace looked like something Laura Loomer would conjure up as she gave Trump his talking point, policy decision, and political advice, which is literally destroying him and the Republican Party. That's another thing that's also going on, saying that Laura Loomer is pretty much in the ears of Donald J. Trump, giving him all the pretty much the worst ideas ever. Because if you see the correlation, the people that she hates, Donald Trump seems to be tweeting about those people and so on and so forth. But then again, let's be quite honest, she is somebody who seems to be advocating for the state of Israel, and people who pretty much are against what's going on in the state of Israel. Trump seems to tweet against those people. So, you do what you want with that. Obviously, this is the main post this is the actual post right here that Donald Trump decided to post. And so this is pretty much, this is what Candace Owen has to say about the First Lady, Brigitte Macron. Let's take a listen.
It is time for you to wake up. So we will start from the top here with a photo of Brigitte Macron. Real name, Jean-Michel Trogneux. That person that you are looking at on the right is not a woman. Okay? Here is a photo.
So keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not wrong, these two have about 40-year difference between their lives. About 40 years. So this one was about 40 when she decided to, well, not 40. How old was she? Anyways, long story short, I don't care. All I'm trying to say is this is one ugly ass thing right here, to be quite honest with you. Let's be honest. Brigitte Macron with that, I'm just gross. This is I mean, when you see it, right? He's young. He can get somebody who is bad, bro. He is able to get with some baddies, dog. I'm just saying. And instead you decided to settle with him? What? Bruh, you can't tell me there's not freaking some kind of satanic ritual going on over there, because these people are fucking weird. They do a bunch of weird satanic bullshit, bunch of, rituals that is what the hell? And then it just bunch of humiliation ritual that also has to be publicized and stuff like that. Again, they do a bunch of weird shit behind doors in which if normal people were to find out, you would never see these leaders the same way ever again. To be quite honest, I genuinely think that it is only a facade. And what I mean by that is in front of the public, they want to make it seem like, oh, they're in love. Oh, they can't seem to get enough of each other, blah, 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 blah. But behind closed doors, Emmanuel Macron probably doesn't even call any shot. Brigitte Macron is probably the one that's calling the shot. Yeah, so all in all, I just think it's a facade.
Okay? Here is a photo, by the way. Just over the years, Jean-Michel Trogneux, as he became Brigitte, as I said, the evidence for this is overwhelming. That second photo, I believe they found a photo of him at a pride parade when he was just living as a homosexual man. That next photo is when the transition began, if I recall correctly, and that's a photo from the professor years. And the professor years of Brigitte Macron is when he statutorily Emmanuel Macron. Those are not the prerequisites, by the way. Like, to becoming a leader of a world country, you got to like be in drama class like Zelensky. You got to be a homosexual, like a lot of them tend to be. And are the new prerequisites that you need to have something in your closet like this, and the entire state is going to work feverishly to protect the secret?
So yeah, like I said, if you listen to the saga of what's going on, you will understand exactly what, where this is coming from. But one thing that I will say is, why does Trump give a damn about the beef that's going on between Brigitte Macron and Candace Owen? Let's be honest. Why does he care? You got bigger problem, buddy. You have to open up the Strait of Hormuz, because it's only a matter of time now before your own citizen turn against you, bud. Gas prices are skyrocketing. The whole entire world is pretty much being affected by this whole Strait of Hormuz being shut down. And there's nobody to blame except for you and the state of Israel. That's all I gotta say. So talking about Candace Owen and her beef with Brigitte Macron is like, bro, just stay out of this one. Let those two deal with it. Candace Owen is extremely confident that is a man with two balls. Based off of what I'm seeing, based off of Brigitte Macron's response, I'm like, okay, maybe it's starting to sound more and more realistic that this person does have two ball sacks in their pants. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to go ahead and, just let you guys know that this is what's been going on the internet recently. To close it off, I do want to say that no matter how much you hate Candace Owen, I get it. You may not agree with her politics. You may not agree with her stance when it comes to the way Donald Trump is running the country. Cool. You're allowed to have your opinion. But one thing that I will say is Donald Trump has more blood on his hand than Candace Owen does. I don't think she has a single blood on her hand. Trump is calling, literally saying that he's willing to end an entire civilization. Recently, there was rumors going around that he wanted to go to the nuclear, trying to nuke Iran. This is somebody who's running the White House. So you do what you want with that information. Trump's action has affected millions of people all over the world. And if this continues, it's going to affect billions of people all over the world. So based off of what I'm seeing, based off of what I'm hearing, all I can say is, Trump, you're a far worse human being than Candace Owen is. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. You are a far worse human being than she is. Am I a huge Candace Owen fan? No, I'm not. All I can tell you is, again, if I'm doing the comparison here, I'm pretty sure I know what the obvious answer is. So I'll catch you guys up later. Assalamu alaikum.